This video is an introduction to how to use pivot tables. So with our FMD data, we've just finished creating a premises type classification for each infected property. So now what I'm going to do is to select Shift and down all of the data in this premises category column, and then I'm going to come to the Insert tab on the ribbon and come here to where it says Pivot Table, and I'm going to insert a pivot table. Now it asks us what data we want to input, and it's automatically put the data that we had selected in as the range of data we want to look at, and we're going to place our pivot table into a new worksheet. That's given us a new sheet here ready to build our pivot table. So when it goes to build a pivot table, you have the field list interface at the side, and that tells it what sort of pivot table to create. So if we place a tick in the box next to H type, then that puts those in as the row labels. And then if you want each row to show the values, we need to drag it down here to where it says values. If we come now where we've put H type in the values box, you can see it says count of H type. If we press the little drop down box and then go to value field settings, we can change what it's displaying from a count to other statistics associated with that variable. So for example, here you can see it's currently giving us the count of the number of properties in each of these categories. Now, because this is a categorical variable, most of these other calculations don't really make sense. So you can't do the average of a categorical variable. So pivot tables are really useful because they're very fast. Excel basically does all the work in the background for you and can be used very quickly to generate tables and reports, contingency tables, and this sort of thing to be able to quickly visualize a summary of your data. So for example, if we come back here to our raw data, we'll come back to the first column. If we select all of our data by pressing the box in the upper left-hand corner of the spreadsheet, we can insert a pivot table that incorporates all of that data. So you can see it's selected all of the data in the spreadsheet, and we'll put the resulting pivot table into a new worksheet. You can now put any of the columns from that original data set in as the rows and columns of your pivot table to be able to summarize what you're interested in. So for example, if we want to know the relationship between supergroup name, so which supergroup of counties the property was in, and the H type, so the property type, and we want to know the count of the H type, so that's the data we're going to put in, you can quickly create this summary. You'll see that you've got two little drop-down boxes here. That's the same as what your filter function is on the columns on your data, and so we can use that to remove the blank values from this pivot table. And now you can see this is a nice summary table, the number of infected properties of each type in each supergroup that was infected during the outbreak. Now you can see that the formatting of this looks a little bit funny. This is the C column, the M column, the P column, and the S column. If you find that they're not coming up very clearly or you're having difficulty reading them, you can select all of the cells that have data in them, come back here to the Home tab, and just turn on all borders for those columns. And that can sometimes just help you visualize a little bit easier. If the columns are being aligned slightly strangely, it can just help you make sure that you can see what you're looking at.